So the question of like when my school started, I'm preceding myself laughing for what's going to happen. I'm going to talk about next. So the question of like when my school started and seeing myself as a teacher. So the first thing I have to say is I'm a high school dropout. So at 15 years old, I was like like learning, and the whole thing, the social scene, the learning by rote. So I don't think anybody ever expected me to be a teacher. Maybe some kind of blabbermouth, right? Because I've always been a bit of a chatterbox. So, and I like to share what I learn. I've been running an herb school for about 28 years. I started the herb school in 1992. My first time I had 3 students, and I really never thought about it was a long-term project. But I feel in a sense fortunate or weird about, like, it wasn't like, oh, I'll start a school and then I'll build a school up and then we'll do this. It just kind of kept happening. So I never really gave it a lot of thought, like, will be an herbal teacher. I just started teaching it, and then I kept building up the school. Not so much building up with more and more students, but building up my knowledge base. Every year there's new groups. So first there's 2 groups. There's a weekend group, 1 week in the month, and then there's people that are 3 days a week and they're on long field trips. So the first day of class every year, I mean, it feels uncomfortable because there's all these new people, and my question is like, we're gonna be together for 6 months, a lot of the time, and I hope that we all get along well. And so I'm definitely like peeking around and seeing how that feels, but I interview everybody in person for quite a while on the phone for both programs, because I'm not everybody's best herb teacher, right? I swear a lot, I'm very cynical, I'm left-leaning politically.
And you can see the mark.
And so like I'm up there talking and they're thinking, did I make the right move? And then it settles in, and then people get to know each other and people start to make good friends. But here is how I judge how well it's going to go, is how easily people laugh. And this year, it's a raucous crowd, which is one of my favorite ways, because I use humor a lot. Like for me, humor is just an essential part of my life. Like humor equals irony, means getting through a really weird world as a human being, right? So like for me, I need irony in order to ground myself in the weirdness of existence, right? Of my human existence and what all humans do to the planet, and then my cynicalness comes out. So irony and sarcasm help me, but it's not everybody's form of feeling comfortable, because I feel like students that study with me do better like laughing at the irony of the world. A lot of my students have lots of spirituality. So I'm looking at the camera to tell you this, which is basically, I feel myself deeply non-spiritual. And I love the terminology because it's deeply part of it. Like for me, spirituality is really just not a part of my life. And so when I interview people, of course, they have to know that they're not going to come here and they're going to have a teacher that has a very scientific lens in the world, scientific with openness. But many of the people are very satiated or very comfortable in their spirituality. So in other words, they don't need a teacher who has spirituality, they need the other part of that, which is like more practicality and more science. So there are a few things I feel like that people might want to study with me. Practicalness is definitely one of them. Practicalness and actually cynicism go pretty close together. What do I really want to give students is actually, it's about critical thinking. It's not about herbal medicine. So critical thinking, which if you read anything about anything these days, often critical thinking is just out the window. And so it's just, or thoughtfulness would almost be another word for it. So I think I want them to understand how herbal medicine works, but I want them to understand how healthcare works. I want them to understand how the human body works. So really, I feel like one of the most important things that I can offer them is critical thinking in the context of herbal medicine.
I was hoping to get at least 6 of those. Yes.
Do I feel good or proud of former students? Absolutely. Like if there's one part of being an herbal teacher that feels just very profoundly heartening, is watching many of the students take it on and go in their own direction. Here's the reality, right? So in terms of practicality, it's very hard to make a livelihood as an herbalist. So many of the students haven't stayed in herbal medicine because it's just hard to make their finances and ends meet with herbal medicine. So I want to say that just to acknowledge that that's a reality. And then also there are some students who have just taken herbal medicine and have studied with me and then maybe studied with other people, and now they're broadcasting herbal medicine, and it's a super pleasure and a very prideful thing to see this happen and to watch the person grow. I mean, I've been doing it a long time. Also, I get to watch these folks grow as a human, and so yeah, I feel really proud of a lot of my former students. Yeah, it is. Thank you.